Start to sail on these ocean waves.
What is up everyone, welcome to another honest camera comparison, and today I have Redmi K30 Pro and Asus ROG Phone 3. This one is Redmi K30 Pro and this one is Asus ROG Phone 3. You can see there is a difference in viewing angle. Asus ROG Phone 3 viewing angle is a little bit narrower than Redmi K30 Pro. Check the color grading. Yes, ROG Phone 3 is a bit pale and Redmi K30 Pro is little too much saturated. There is a big difference in dynamic range and details. Skin tone of Redmi K30 Pro is not correct, but sharpness and background on Redmi K30 Pro is better than ROG Phone 3. I think this is all about personal preference. Oh, I have made a few original images available for you to download and the link is in the description box below. Okay, I will take a lot of pictures before I make this comparison video because I wanna check a lot of pictures and then pick the best ones or the worst ones to share with you. Yeah, it's time to start our camera comparison, but before that, if you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button. And if you end up disliking this video, then okay, that dislike button is also working. Let's flip to rear cameras. These videos were recorded at 1080p 30 frames per second in the evening. Sun was setting at the background and I wanted to check low light performance. Redmi K30 Pro tried to brighten up with high ambience and yes, that increased visibility but ruined originality. Both depends on EIS for stabilization and it is similar on both. Also, exposure on ROG Phone 3 seems a bit better. 4K 30 frames per second under bright daylight. Have you noticed white balance issue on ROG Phone 3? Yeah, under bright lighting conditions sometimes ROG Phone 3 has this white balance issue. Other than that, stabilization is really awesome on ROG Phone 3. Redmi K30 Pro reproduced colors that is close to life and yes, the video on the right is truly better in terms of sharpness and details. But aggressive electronic image stabilization created some jelly effect and ruined the video. Yes, Redmi K30 Pro can record at 8K but there is no stabilization. This video is recorded at 1080p with ultra stabilization enabled on both of the devices. Yeah, I ran to check the stabilization and Redmi K30 Pro is better, but that is far from true flagship class stabilization. Optical image stabilization matters. Let's check an ultra wide shot. I am surprised to see wide variance of white balance on ROG Phone 3. In some pictures it's way too different and in some pictures there is no issue. Not only that, saturation level and color temperature on ROG Phone 3 varies based on ambient light and color. Redmi K30 Pro picture is definitely sharper and have wider dynamic range. Skin tone and color grading is close to real life. ROG Phone 3 color grading and contrast ratio made this image suffer. If we crop in, then the differences are more visible and yeah, I would say Redmi K30 Pro did better. Main sensors of these two smartphones are the same 64 megapixel Sony IMX686, but the pictures reproduced by these two smartphones are different. ROG Phone 3 did better than its ultra-wide lens photo, however Redmi K30 Pro really did very good. Sky color rendition, dynamic range, sharpness and details. Almost everything is better on Redmi K30 Pro. But as mentioned earlier, Redmi devices tries to increase highlights to brighten up the whole image and that's why skin tone on ROG Phone 3 looks more natural. Other than that, I would say Redmi K30 Pro produced a true flagship class image. As both of these two comes without any telephoto lens, I have tried to take 5x digital zoom pictures. Both of these two smartphones uses their main sensors and then digitally crop it in the center. Here you can see that all the main camera trend and attributes are available in these pictures. After doing a lot of comparison, yes, Redmi K30 Pro image is lucrative for sure. ROG Phone 3 has less details and once again, there is white balance issue. Yeah, these pictures were taken in the evening and there is a drastic difference in results. ROG Phone 3 continued to have white balance issue, but as I have enabled AI scene detection on ROG Phone 3, it started to artificially add color tint to the sky and images become noticeably sharper than usual. There is more details in the shadows and dynamic range is also wider than Redmi K30 Pro. Make no mistake, when I say details in the shadows, I did not mean overall details and sharpness, cause of course those are better on Redmi K30 Pro. As usual, the same trend continues on the pictures produced by the main sensors. However, I am truly surprised to see that even with the same sensor, ROG Phone 3 fails to grab as much details as Redmi K30 Pro. Not only details, plenty of sharpness and better color rendition makes Redmi K30 Pro image lucrative and true to life. Only thing better on Asus ROG Phone 3 is shadows and dynamic range. Another digital zoom image, and this time it's 2x digital zoom. Also this time with HDR and AI enabled. But there is not much of a difference. ROG Phone 3 continued to suffer with its poor color temperature, saturation and white balance. While Redmi K30 Pro shows that it has a few tricks in its sleeve to show. Great! Almost true to life color grading, superb sharpness and plenty details. If I didn't know it's a digitally cropped image, I would thought this was taken with a telephoto lens. Before we check the best, the worst and low light photos, let's check some portrait photos. Edge detection of ROG Phone 3 and Redmi K30 Pro is almost similar. However, it is easier and faster to go back and forth between front subject and background object. On Redmi K30 Pro, sometimes you have to work a little to get the focus object and bokeh effect with correct edge detection. Bokeh effect of ROG Phone 3 is overall better. However, if you have time and if you can manage to find the correct distance, then Redmi K30 Pro will produce awesome portrait with bokeh effect. In terms of details and sharpness, both are almost similar, but highlights and brightness is a bit too much on ROG Phone 3 and a bit low on Redmi K30 Pro. I have mentioned earlier and let me repeat, to get the focus is easier on ROG Phone 3. Color grading and skin tone is natural on Redmi K30 Pro. At the beginning of the video, I have said that I would share the best and the worst pictures. I would share positives and negatives of these two smartphones' camera performance. Here is the best outdoor picture that I have managed to grab with ultra-wide lens. For your information, I have clicked like 100 images through the day, slightly overexposed with better white balance, and saturation level is within acceptable boundary. Yes, ROG Phone 3 did manage to do a tremendous job. But after comparing side by side with Redmi K30 Pro image, I am definitely gonna like the image on the right. It has more details, sharpness, higher dynamic range and perfect color temperature. This picture is really an eye candy. No, this is really not good. Once in a while, this happens to ROG Phone 3. It's like the whole world becomes yellow. There is an awful hike in the saturation level and mid-tones. Look at the image on the right. That depicts reality and reminds me of the moment. A joyful moment, cause a budget flagship continued to show that yes, it can do good and truly this Redmi K30 Pro belongs to the top league. Wait, don't get so emotional. Here is one of those reasons why K30 Pro is a budget smartphone with almost flagship class performance. Yes, almost. As ROG Phone 3 is a gaming centric smartphone, I really don't mind to see that it failed. But Redmi K30 Pro should have done better. Yes, among these two smartphones, even ROG Phone 3 did better, even if it's not as good as other flagships. The truth is, not more than a few top-class flagships would pull out a better image under this type of harsh condition. Now, time for main sensor and time to understand reality. Redmi K30 Pro again failed to identify the bright and well-lit areas, failed to do a proper optimization between contrast ratio, brightness and highlights. Once again, ROG Phone 3 is better, and as it is a new smartphone, I believe that it will get even better with new stock camera updates. Yes, another harsh lighting condition, another ultra-wide shot, and again, ROG Phone 3 proved to be the better one. Rather than saying a lot of words, I have marked a few places and yes, you can check by yourself. I have even made these images available for you. There is a download link in the description box below. Things are different when the images are taken with the main sensor. Redmi K30 Pro definitely have more details, better color grading and sharpness, but once again failed to control well-lit areas. Similarly, Asus ROG Phone 3 suffered a bit from its poor white balance and the whole picture has a soft tone. It took me 5 days to do this camera comparison, cause this camera comparison was a very bumpy ride. Look at this, again Redmi K30 Pro failed and again ROG Phone 3 is better. Most of the time when I do a camera comparison video, there are images that varies. but this ROG Phone 3 and Redmi K30 Pro seems like the most inconsistent in performance. I took this picture at 64 megapixel mode. A lot of people requested that I should try 64 megapixel mode and check details. Let's crop in and I will leave this for you. Try to find out which one is better. I have no problem to say that ROG Phone 3 did way better. What's your thought on this? Don't forget to make a comment. This was taken in almost true darkness. The nearest light source is about 25 meters away from the focus object, and I am truly amazed to see how ROG Phone 3 brighten up the whole image. Yes, in the process it lost some details and sharpness, but it has way better visibility than the picture produced by Redmi K30 Pro. ROG Phone 3 has plenty more details in the shadows and the difference is too drastic. Yes, I haven't added many night mode pictures in this comparison video cause I am doing a dedicated night mode camera comparison between Redmi K30 Pro, ROG Phone 3 and OnePlus 8 Pro. Yeah, this camera comparison is a perfect example of ride on a roller coaster. Performance of these two smartphones varies frequently and it is really hard to keep up with this back and forth performance game. In the last picture you have seen how great ROG Phone 3 was, and now it's too obvious that Redmi K30 Pro did almost twice as good as ROG Phone 3. Details, sharpness, brightness, denoising, in every aspect, Redmi K30 Pro is better.
So let's get lost out here. No one else out here. Find ourselves out here. Oh. We could disappear into this atmosphere where there's.
Okay, it's time to wrap up. If you have liked this video, then please click on the like button. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I would like to read your comments and reply to your comments. If you have time, please don't forget to make a comment.